ફેસબુક માંથી જોડાયેલા સૌ સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ મિત્રોને હું આનંદ સાથે કહી શકું કે આપણા જે આજે મહેમાન છે માનનીય પદ્મશ્રી ગણપતભાઈ અમારા સૌના માટે પ્રેરણા સ્ત્રોત છે અને ઉત્તર ગુજરાતના એક નાનકડા ગામમાંથી જન્મેલા અને વિશ્વમાં એક નોંધપાત્ર કામગીરી કર્યું છે અને વળી પાછું વતન આવીને પોતાના રાજ્યમાં યુનિવર્સિટીને સ્થાપિત કરી અને એને સંચાલન કરી શિક્ષણ જગતમાં એક દાખલા ઊભું કર્યા છે એવા માન્ય ગણપતભાઈજી આપણે વચ્ચે છે. ઇટ ઇઝ અ વેરી પ્રાઉડ મોમેન્ટ ફોર અસ. અને જે ફિનિશિંગ સ્કૂલ અને આઈહબ આજના ગુજરાત સરકારના યુવાનો માટેના બે મોટા એમના ફ્યુચરને ઊભું કરવા માટેનો પાયા કહી શકાય. એક ફિનિશિંગ સ્કૂલ અને એક આઈહબ જે સ્ટાર્ટઅપ અને એન્ટરપ્રેન્યોરશિપ નો ગોલ લઈને આવ્યા છે. એ બંનેનો સમન્વય આજે થઈને એના એક સોનામાં સુગંધ લાવે એવું માન્ય ગણપતભાઈ આપણે વચ્ચે ઉપસ્થિત છે અને એમનું જીવનમાંથી પ્રેરણા લઈએ. એમના જે વિચાર છે એનાથી પણ આપણે પ્રેરિત થઈએ અને એમના જેવું એક ઉમદા કામ ભવિષ્યમાં આપણે સૌ સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ પણ વિચારીને કરી શકાય એવું એક વિચારને આપને સૌને સામે રજૂ કરવા માટે આજનો કાર્યક્રમ છે. અને મોટાભાગે આપણે સવારે ફિનિશિંગ સ્કૂલના કાર્યક્રમ અને સાંજે સ્ટાર્ટઅપના હતા, પણ આજે બંનેનો મેલન થઈને એક સારી કાર્યક્રમ આજે થઈ રહ્યું છે. તો આ તબક્કે હું ગુજરાત સરકાર વતી શિક્ષણ વિભાગ વતી હું માન્ય ગણપતભાઈને આવકારું છું આ કાર્યક્રમમાં. અને અમારા સ્ટુડન્ટ્સને આજે 44th સેશન છે. 1 મે જે ગુજરાત સ્થાપના દિવસ છે ત્યારથી માંડીને સવારે 9 થી 11 વાગે ફિનિશિંગ સ્કૂલના ટીમ સતત આ કાર્યક્રમ કરતા આવ્યા છે અને ફેસબુક લાઈવ ઉપર 2000 કરતા વધારે લોકો લાઈવ જોડાતા હતા અને અન્ય સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ મિત્રો પણ અમારા જોડે કોવિડના સંદર્ભમાં પણ સતત અમે ફિનિશિંગ સ્કૂલનો કાર્યક્રમ ચાલુ રાખ્યું. એ સાથે સાથે સ્ટાર્ટઅપ અને ઇનોવેશનમાં પણ એક લહેર અત્યારે ઊભું થયું છે. તો અમારા વતનના અમારા બાજુના એક વ્યક્તિ કઠોર પરિશ્રમ કરીને અને પરિસ્થિતિના સંજોગોને ઉપર પણ ઉઠીને કેટલા મોટા કામ કરી શકાય એ આપણા જીવનમાં જે દાખલા જોઈએ તો એ કોઈ દૂરના દાખલા નથી, આપણા ઘરનું દાખલા છે. એવું એક પ્રેરણા ઊભું થાય એના માટે અમને અમારા ટીમને ઈચ્છા હતી કે આપ આવો અને અમારા સ્ટુડન્ટ્સને માર્ગદર્શન કરો. તો એ તક આપને મળી છે. તો એ બદલ આપણે જે કેલિફોર્નિયાથી આપ જોડાયા છો, તમારા બિઝી શેડ્યુલમાં પણ અમને સમય આપ્યા છો, તો એના માટે તો હું આભાર માનું છું અને ખૂબ આનંદની વાત છે કે આપ આવ્યા અને સ્ટુડન્ટ્સના વતી આપને હું ખૂબ ખૂબ આવકારું છું.
Professor Mahendra Sharma, may I request you for your initial remark? You are a champion of education and driving innovation under the leadership of Ganpatji. Few words from you.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Dr. Ganpat Patel, all of whom we lovingly call Dada, Shri M Nagarajan Sahab, Commissioner Higher Education, Government of Gujarat, my colleagues from academic world, Dr. Nandini, Dr. 𝗷𝗯𝗫𝗂𝘁, Dr. Mahesh Patel, and all the colleagues who joined me on this important day. I just wanted to add, while we were talking about Dr. Ganpat Patel, he is amongst the few Indians who is on the board of regents of California Polytechnic University. So he is probably the only Indian in the history of 150 years of that university to be on the board of regents. And there is a full research lab dedicated on his name. He has not only endowed in India, but he has endowed to his alma mater more than $8 million. And a full scientific lecture series is named after him. He is known as Pat Patel, and it's Pat Patel and Manju Patel distinguished lecture series, scientific lecture series in California University is named after him. Apart from them, he is actively guiding 3 startups here in India under his direct mentorship. And there are 18 startups whom he is already supporting in India and in USA. So, and there is an investment arm that I won't shy away from sharing, Ganpat Biznovation India Limited, which supports and funds startups. And he is a technology man, and he has supported all the high-end technology startups in India and USA on a continued basis. And currently his passion is creating a center for sustainable engineering. And he has given us a mandate that Ganpat University campus by 2020 end will be 100% carbon free. We currently produce our own 60% of solar rooftop energy, and eventually the vehicles and everything would get carbon free. So we will be carbon neutral by 2020 end, and it would be a model campus for the entire country. And that's the man with a mission we are going to hear, and who has demonstrated by leading the examples, creating those examples. And that's why our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, every time Dada visits India, invites him for his views on how the ecosystem should further be developed, and we are benefiting. And he wants to create first Stanford of India, and that is his mission as of now. And he has already told the Honorable Prime Minister that first Stanford of India will happen from Gujarat, and he has committed 1,000 crore to that mission. So in a nutshell, this is what I wanted to add. And I would like to share all the startups who are getting incubated, that he is always accessible. You can always take his guidance and inputs on the models you are working, and he will give you the best of connect and network also in the US, so as to enable you with the best technological advice. So with those words, thank you for the opportunity, Nagarajan Saab, Hiranmoyji, for giving me 5 minutes to add on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. Your students and innovators are doing wonderful job. जो स्टूडेंट स्टार्टअप इनोवेशन पॉलिसी है गुजरात सरकार का, उसकी जो ग्रांटी यूनिवर्सिटी है उसमें से आप लोग एक काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग ग्रांटी हैं. Saurabh and his team are doing wonderful job. By now, I'm sure more than 20 startups have come out from your campus. More than 50 projects have been funded. A dozen patents have come out from your efforts. And I think when every institute, every university thinks like this makes real Atmanirbhar Bharat. जब हर यूनिवर्सिटी, हर कॉलेज, आपने कहा आप सेल्फ सफिशिएंट हो रहे हैं, तो जब आत्मनिर्भर होगा तो देश ऑटोमेटिकली आत्मनिर्भर होगा. तो आप लोगों ने एक्शन के माध्यम से इस हाइपोथेसिस को वैलिडेट किया है, और कहीं ना कहीं ये एक बहुत खुशी की बात है. एंड द टीम दैट हैव बीन वर्किंग, आई टॉक टू सौरभ जी, मैंने कहा कि गणपत जी को तो बहुत लेट हो जाएगा, रात को हम सुबह करेंगे, तो बोले वो आपसे भी यंग है. So I was just taken aback. तो फिर मैंने कहा अच्छा, बोले हाँ, he is more younger than you. Then I talked Nagarajan sir. मैंने बोला sir, is it okay? He told me no, if he is younger than us, let us listen to him in the morning and inspire all. So that's the way we manage this program, sir. And I'm sure your story of going Gujarat to global, and not only going Gujarat to global, again getting global to Gujarat, that complete 360-degree approach is a real thing to learn. So now, without spending more time, I will request Ganpat Patel Saab to address the participants, the innovators, startups of the entire state.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Namaste. The introduction was a mouthful. I don't know if I could digest all of that. Mr. Nagarajan, sir, Director Technical Education, thank you for inviting me to take this opportunity and share my lifetime experience. You have given me a challenge to squeeze my 75 years into 1 hour, and I'm going to try my best. Dear Nandani-ben, thank you for kind introduction. Shri Hiranmoyji, CEO of iHub, I want to congratulate you for a great initiative that you are carrying on. You are a true blessing to the young generation. This is great. Thank you for having me here today also. Our Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Sharma, faculty members, students, friends, I want to welcome each and every one of you. India is very lucky to have leadership today of Shri Narendra Modi. During this challenging time, I want to acknowledge the impact of strong leadership, especially in Gujarat, and especially my passion, education. Thank you, Narendra Bhai. he has attributed a lot to our success as well. As with everyone else, my story has struggles and successes also. But most of the time, I have felt I have been extremely fortunate and blessed with a great friends and families. My story begins in Gujarat, travels to United States, comes back to Gujarat, where my heart will always be. My 75 years of experience have brought me many joys and thrills. To share them with you today, I want to talk about my life story. I was born in a small village called Bunao on January 12th, 1945. The village had no running water, no electricity, and I was the youngest of the 11 siblings, rather very large family. My father was an innovative farmer. He tried many new crops. Every year he would try a new crop. He wanted to be a modern farming. And most of the time, when he was doing that, he ended up losing money. But that didn't stop him. Actually, he had to borrow money for living from local banya many times at a very high interest rate. So I quickly learned two things from my dad. One is he was always struggling to do new things, new way of farming. And the other, he was always in the heavy debt, borrowing money at a very high interest rate. I had made up then and there that I'm going to follow his first virtue, but not the second one. I will never go in the debt. And to date, I have never ever borrowed a single penny from anywhere. I live within my means. And my risk-taking ability came from my dad. It's in my DNA. I learned compassion, 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗻𝗸𝗿, sympathy, and effective management from my mother. She was a CEO of a large family. She had a sense of high efficiency. She used the latest and greatest of the technology that we learn at the universities today. Zero waste, zero inventory, dark to stock, keep everyone happy, keep everyone motivated in the family. She was one of the best CEO I have yet to meet. My childhood was very joyful. I was pampered not only from my family, but from entire village because my mother was very popular in the village. Everyone liked her for her virtue of 𝗦𝗽𝗻𝗻𝗇. Growing up, I had many friends. I played a lot of game in the village like every other kid. I was from a middle class family, but some of my friends were extremely poor. Some friends did not have enough food to eat. Some friends had a single parent raising them. This was making big impression on me, and it bothered me. This inequality in the society shouldn't be there. During my primary education in Bunao, I was engaged in many social activities, such as helping poor people, disabled people. It gave me a pleasure with this kind of service in the village. This was the first taste of philanthropy in my life. My brothers and sisters did not have a higher education, except my second eldest brother, Shri 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿. He had a degree in agriculture, and he spent rest of his retired life at Ganpat University. Actually, what you see a green campus today is his blessing. 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿 eventually even got a doctorate in agriculture. My entire family had a very high hopes on me for education because they all did not do well in the school. So I was the last hope for the family. And during my primary education, I was always on the upper end of my class. After finishing my primary education in a small village, Buna, 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿 took me to Junagadh for my higher education. It was a big change for me at that time. I went from a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a very large ocean. At the time, Junagadh High School was one of the largest high school in Gujarat. It took me almost 1 year just to get adjusted. 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿 and Dadi Ramaba are always very kind to me. And in return, I wanted to make them happy. So I studied very hard and got a good grades in the high school and made them proud of me. They were always telling all their friends how smart I was and how practical I was. 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿 was working with a government with the highest integrity, honesty, dedication. He never misused his position for personal use. He was a great example. I learned those qualities from him. Many times, 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿 used to play cards with his co-workers and friends. And whenever they were short of partners, he would invite me to play cards with them. He had one friend named 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿. This 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿 was very smart man. He was also Jyotish and a good one. Every time he saw me, he would tell everyone around that this boy is not going to do nokri in his life. Actually, he is going to be a big businessman. And he would keep repeating this over and over and over to the point where I was almost brainwashed. And subconsciously, I started believing in myself that I'm going to be nothing but a very large businessman. My subconscious mind was already programmed at this point, like Dr. Adia would say. I used to live 4 miles away from my high school. In the beginning, I walked to the high school and back. After getting some good grades, 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗿 rewarded me with a Hercules bicycle. My friend named Purushottam and I would ride a bicycle every day together, and we would go to school. On our way, there was a public library. We would, without missing, every day spend 1 hour at the library. It turned out to be the great habit. Later I realized. I would read about America and Russia. During that time, exactly at that time, there was a space war going on between Russia and America. And I would read that in the newspaper. Just to read that, I used to go to library. And there was another thing that I was impressed with was that many of the Indian engineers were doing a Pradesh Gaman. After that undergraduate degree, they would go to US for higher education. I used to keep a blade in my pocket and cut out from the newspapers cheats. And I used to collect those cheats at home. I had a whole stack full of them actually. And I was thinking that someday mine will be in that stack. Someday soon. I had made up my mind that in Kain Prakare, I must go to America and as early as I can. Come back to India, get an engineering degree, and be a businessman. My eldest brother here, Govindbhai, did not have much education at all. But he had a great people skill and he was inherently smart. He, on his own, learned much about diesel engine in those days. They were used for irrigation purposes in a farming industry. He started business of selling these diesel engines, repairing them, selling the centrifugal pump that goes with it, and some spare parts. As a matter of fact, he named his business Ganpat Machinery Store. It was named after me. With his success in the business, the family's financial situation began improving quite a bit. During holidays and summer, I worked at Ganpat Machinery Store helping him also. From my elder brother, I learned one thing, and that is a customer service. If you serve your customer properly, that's all you need to do to be successful in business. He used to tell me. I finished high school in 1962 with honors. Got admission at MG Science College in Ahmedabad. It was a prestigious college actually at that time. It is prestigious now also. During my pre-science and FIBSc, after struggling whether I wanted to be a doctor or engineer, I ended up taking an A group. And thankfully I did, because I would not have made a good doctor at all. By not becoming a doctor, I may have saved many, many lives. During my MG Science years, I started corresponding with many universities in America. At that time, most of the people who went to USA would go after completing undergraduate. I wasn't about to wait for my finishing the undergraduate. During about the same time, Ramaba and Maniba, my two babis, had made a plan for me to marry their younger sister named Manju. It was too soon for me to get married, but with the family pressure, I ended up getting married anyway. And I married to my sweetheart, childhood sweetheart, because during my childhood, I played with her because of my babis were common denominator. Manju was 1 year behind me in high school at that time. Life is becoming complicated. I am married. I am working hard. I am considering traveling to USA. I have to do a further study. I have not shared my information of going to America with anybody in the family. I did not speak good English. I had no idea actually how I was going to finance my education in US. And if this was not enough, about that time, Dadi gave me a news that she was pregnant with my first daughter. Look how life gets complicated when you are making plans. In this situation now, in my place, Anybody else would have given up idea of America. I was only 19 years old, married, and I felt the responsibility of father, becoming father. But I wasn't about to change my mind of traveling to US. On September 19, 1965, I secured admission at Iowa State University in USA. It's the middle of America, actually. In chemical engineering, I got my I-20 visa and foreign exchange. I went to Bunao from Ahmedabad, told my family, I am leaving tomorrow morning. They were shocked, including Dadi, Manju Dadi. My mother was crying. Whole family was against it. But nothing was going to stop me. I said, I must go. They even used the excuse of kamurta, that there is not a proper murat to leave for me to go to study to America. I said, look, I have to leave and I have to leave tomorrow. If the murat is not there, pay a little bit extra dakshina to Brahman so he can make a kamurt to murat. And that's what happened. I ended up leaving Bunao on September 20th, 1965. My family was disappointed with me. I left for USA. I took a train from Ahmedabad to Mumbai with my friend named 𝗔𝗯𝗿𝗲𝗸𝗏, who also was coming to USA. This was a very scary experience. India and Pakistan war was at the peak. So the train were all blackout. There was no lights in the train. Actually, there was no lights in the cities also. Everywhere there was a dark. Whole night, I was sitting on my bag, protecting my bag from someone stealing in the dark train, wondering if I was crazy or not. Next day, we took a flight from Bombay to Tehran to Rome to New York. On 22nd September, I arrived at Iowa State University. One of the reasons I picked Iowa State University was because Moti Dada's friend, Mr. Joshi, was doing his PhD in agriculture at that university. So Dada thought that his friend would keep eye on me. I was too young. I was also naive that when I ended up in Iowa, I had no idea that it was freezing cold there. But everyone at the university was very friendly. Professors, people around, they were very helpful. They actually donated some jackets and clothes and shoes and socks and made me feel welcome. I started the university, finished my first semester, but the cold weather was unbearable for me. So I had a friend in California. I called this friend. He said, Ganpat, come to California. The weather is like India. It's beautiful here. And you will have no problem getting admission at CalPoly, Pomona, California State University, Pomona, in chemical engineering. Because I had a reasonably good grade during my first semester at Iowa State University also. So I made another bold move. I did not notify my family in India because they would get upset if I made a move like that. Mr. Joshi was upset. I was afraid he would write to Moti Dada. But against all of that, I trusted my guts. And I took a Greyhound bus from Iowa to Pomona, California. After 4 days and $78 ticket, I ended up in Pomona. Next morning, with a very high hopes, I went to admission office in CalPoly, Pomona. There was a foreign student advisor named Mr. John Byrne, great big guy, almost 6.5 feet. I went to his office and I thought that he would welcome me because I had a pretty good grades and he would give me admission. To my surprise, he said, Mr. Patel, chemical engineering is very popular in high demand and it's impacted. We have no admission for you. I could not accept you. Sorry. I asked about mechanical engineering. I thought later on I will make a change. He said, no. I said, what about civil engineering? He said, no. He said, look, you must go back to Iowa State. Otherwise, US government will ship you back to India. I got scared. While I was begging him, I felt that earth was moving away from me and from underneath my feet, actually. My dreams were shattered. I did not have enough money to pay next semester's tuition at Iowa State because I had foregone my foreign exchange by making this move. I had taken a huge risk. It could have been my downfall. As I was about to break down, almost crying, my Mr. Burns' secretary, watching this entire drama unfolding, she kind of felt sorry for me, little Indian. She said, Mr. Burns, you know, we have started this new department called electronic engineering. At that time, actually, electronic engineering courses were only 2 universities in the entire America. It was that new. Before she completes her sentence, I said, I will take it. Mr. Burns started laughing. He said, my boy, you came from India, all the way India to become chemical engineer or electronic engineer. Make up your mind. I said, sir, I will work very, very hard. I will make you and this CalPoly proud of me someday. Please accept me. With my assurance, he admitted me at CalPoly. Sometimes one is blessed with the luck. I had a double bank. Actually, he changed my line from chemical engineering to electronic engineering. Actually, in the back of my mind, I thought that someday I will change it to chemical engineering, but I ended up not changing. As I was studying electronic engineering, I found out that I was thoroughly enjoying it. And I was getting good at it. I was getting good grades because I was enjoying it. So, and I made some good friends, particularly one friend that was also studying electronic engineering. He was from Punjab. His name was Kashmiri Lal Khattar. We studied together. We worked at the odd jobs, jobs like janitors, cleaning buildings, busboy, working in the restaurants to support our financial needs. I learned a lot from the odd jobs. Mostly, one thing I learned was that nothing is below dignity. And it also emphasized me that working hard in life is not so bad. 3.5 years later, I graduated from CalPoly Pomona after studying long nights and working late hours. I received a degree in electronic engineering. But during these tough years, I learned 2 most important things at CalPoly Pomona. One is money management, because I didn't have a lot. The other is time management, because I didn't have too much time. I had a family that I had to bring from India, Dadi and my first daughter. So I was using both very wisely. And later in life, that was a very good lesson for me. When I graduated in 1969, the Vietnam War was in full force in America. America was heavily committed. Automation and electronic of all kinds was in demand. All of a sudden, I was in a heavy demand. I had 3 offers before I finished my last course. I selected a military company because he was paying handsomely. This company was making warfares for the Vietnam War. For US military, and Lockheed Martin is one of the large military company. With my job guarantee, I invited Dadi and my eldest daughter Rita to America. Life is settling down. I'm finally getting home cooked meal. And because war was at the peak, I had to work long hours. But that didn't bother me. After working several months in the top military company, one day my boss came to my office and he said, Mr. Patel, we have to get you a security clearance because you are working on some confidential projects, defense projects. I said, okay. So we tried to apply, and then we found out that I had no citizenship or green card. During this time, my project was already halfway, and they didn't want to lose me. So they made a special request to the government to get me a green card on a expedite basis. I was fortunate. The timing was perfect for me. Shortage of electronic engineers was there. Therefore, my company got me green card on an expedite basis. This made Dadi and I very, very happy. And we started planning our life in America. In 1971, Vietnam War started winding down. Lockheed had no more place for me. So they let me go. This was a little setback, but by then I was already confident that I will find another job. I did find another job with another electronic company named Abbott Transistor Lab. It was manufacturing power supplies. And the power supply was my passion. Actually, my senior project during my graduation was a power supply. So I found something that I loved. And because of that, I excelled. Within 2 years, I became engineering supervisor from engineer. But remember, I had a dream of starting my own business. And working in a military company, I could not do it. So I decided to change my job to work for a commercial company. So I went to a company called Burroughs Corporation, which was a second largest computer company at that time. In many ways, it was actually the best computer company in America, better than even IBM at that time. They offered me a job in their power supply group. And I had a lot of extra time on my hand. So I started little business on the side, selling computers, repairing computers. So while I was doing all of that, the company, that Burroughs Corporation, was giving me an extremely good experience. And I had a very, very nice boss. His name was Bob Phillips. Burroughs also had a tie-up with the Tata in India. The name of the company was Tata Burroughs. Actually, I visited Bombay one time to install a very large computer for Tata. I was a senior engineer designing very complicated state-of-art power system for this large company called Burroughs. My boss, Bob Phillips, was very happy with me. I became his favorite engineer. He had about 20 engineers working for him. But I was a restless person. I still had a dream of starting my own company. So one morning, I went to Bob's office, my boss. I said, Bob, I want to resign. He said, nobody leaves Burroughs. Burroughs is it's the best job you can ever have. I said, I know, but I want to start business because I want to make a little bit more money and see if I can do it. He said, Pat, it's a very risky. He tried to talk me out of it. He said, you should not leave Burroughs. Burroughs is the best thing you can happen to you. I can even bring you a little bit more money. I said, Bob, no, I'm talking about making quite a bit more money. And I'm comfortable with designing and manufacturing power supply. So I think I will be able to do it. He tried to talk me out of it. During that time, he even said, look, one time I and my friend started power supply business and we failed. In America, it's not very easy. So that day he took me to lunch, and again, he tried to convince me to not to leave job. We came back from lunch. We are still talking in his office. Finally, he could read my mind and he said, this guy is determined. He is not going to take no for answer. So then he got up and he closed his door and he says, Pat, can I join you? Let's do business together. I said, wow, you are the best thing can happen to me. You are smart. You are a good mentor. He was 10 years older than me. And at the end of the day, instead of him convincing me not to leave, he ended up shaking hand with me and became my partner. We also had made an agreement that I will quit the job first. I will go out and get some business. And then when I have so much business, then he will quit and join me. So here I am. I began the adventure. I resigned the company, started getting business. We started working out in my garage. Bob would help me at nights. We landed some nice contracts from some big companies. Things were moving along pretty good. Per our agreement, I asked Bob that now we have enough business. Why don't you join me full time? I need your help. Bob had a cold feet at that time. He said, Pat, I've been working for this company for 30 years and I don't know if we can really make it. I said, Bob, look, I'm getting a lot of business. What do you mean? He said, no, I could not join you because I have a sick wife. So he decided not to join me and I bought his portion 50% of his portion of the company for $2,000. When Bob decided to leave me, I felt extremely lonely. And I'm not about admitting that I even cried. Piece of me was lost. Running business alone is very difficult. So now I have another challenge of finding another partner. As I continued alone, I met another man named Ken King, who was a president of a very large company. He needed a special power supply that he could not find anyone to design for him. My experience exactly matched his requirement. He was impressed with me. I came through, I gave him a product, and we became a very good friend. He liked me a lot. I actually convinced him to join me. So he bought 33% ownership in my company, and he joined me in 1982. The company was growing nicely. During that time, there was many Indians migrating from India that time. So we were hiring those Indians. They were available. They had difficulty finding jobs. And Dadi was helping me out during this time. Dadi was actually floor manager. And a very good floor manager. She did a great job. My partner was making fun of Dadi. He was telling that, Pat, your wife is a walking computer. Because she remembered a lot about all the parts systems. In 1986, a company named Core Industry approached Ken and I and made us an offer to buy the company. We ended up selling the company and remained as a president and vice president to run company for them. Ken was, remember, Ken was 15 years older than me. So he was a mentor to me. He was a gentleman and a scholar. And he was a very, very smart man. He was probably the smartest person I have ever run into. Our partnership was made in heaven. Our friendship was very good. There was a time where we couldn't live without each other. We made a lot of money together. We had a lot of fun together. We were both technocrats, so we enjoyed what we were doing. We sold the company, but we kept managing it for the new owners. And because new owner was a big company, we were able to try new things and take a little bit more risk than if we were to be the owner. Because we had a limited resources ourselves. One thing I learned from Ken King more than anything else was how to communicate. In any business, a single most virtue you young people need is a communication. You must learn how to communicate effectively and how you can get your point across the other person in an exact manner that you want it. It's a very important virtue. I am thankful to my friend Ken King forever for that education. We ran the company for Core Industry for 10 years, 1986 to 96. During this period, company grew tenfold. I hired several key people, including my friend 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗍 Patel from Gujarat, India. 𝗦𝗽𝗍𝗍 was 10 years older than me, senior to me. He had a double master degree. He was a gold medalist. And so he took upon the responsibility of running our engineering department. And he did a great job. he relieved me from engineering responsibility. So I spent my full time managing the company. In 1996, Core tried to sell the company, but they were not successful. They could not sell without my commitment of employment, and I wasn't about to do that. But I decided to buy the company back. Exactly that time, the internet happened to be booming. So I bought a company back. 96 to 99, 3 years, just in a short span of 3 years, company grew 20-fold. We had a success overnight. Actually, company was like a printing machine. We were highly profitable. For many customers, we were the only game in town. None of our competitors could compete with us. I had a lot of dedicated employees, and I believe taking good care of them. Actually, 𝗷𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫, Ken King, we all had a similar mindset that we created a nice team spirit in the entire company. And company did wonderful job of growing and becoming a top corporation in the power supply field. Every successful business is a team operation, and Cherokee was a perfect example of that. If people see that you are a self-centered and only in for yourself, you will not go far. This is my message to the youth. Cherokee had operations worldwide, Bombay, Europe, Far East, many places, Mexico. And frequently I was traveling to India during that time. Dadi did not have much education because she grew up also in a village. And she was always after me to educate some girls in India. So we started our first philanthropy with Kanya Chhatralaya Unja, Kanya Shala, Unja Kanya Shala. We donated some money for a only girls' school. I had also told my brother-in-law named Chuni-bhai, who was living in Mehsana that time. He was a structural engineer. That we wanted to do something in education. Because me and Dadi always felt that there are a lot of Manjus and Ganpat in villages that can have our life. So Chuni bhai talked to Anil bhai, and Anil bhai and Sharda Ben approached us. And we decided to build a science college in Mehsana called Manju Ben Science College. In 1 year, Anil bhai and company, many friends from Mehsana, completed the building up and running. I was impressed. I thought in India that was impossible. So a year later, they invited me for opening ceremony of Manjula Ben Science College in Mehsana. After completing the ceremony, Anil bhai was dropping me off to the airport. We were driving by Kherwa Road. Exactly at that time, I asked Anil bhai, if I donate 1 crore rupees, remember at that time 1 crore was a lot of money, what would you do? He looked at the driver 𝗔𝗯�cie, he said, 𝗔𝗯�cie, pull the car on the side. Exactly at that point. This was a calling also in many ways. He said, come on, walk on this big open land, charo. So he made me walk on those banthia in a hot summer day. I was a little bit upset because I was in a suit and banthia started getting in my pants. But to make a long story short, he said, yeah, we can buy up this land and it's cheap. We can get it for 3,000, 4,000 rupees per acre, and we can have a huge piece of land. I said, I will send you crore rupees. You go ahead and start acquiring land, but don't tell anybody. Just you and me know. So acquire as much as you can. So he did just that. During this time, friends like 𝗷𝗫𝗀, Becher, many other friends from Mehsana also came forward and donated money for this project. I found that I had begun my philanthropic journey by supporting these charities I was passionate about, and I continued gaining the financial success as I was donating more and more money for this university. As I'm telling you my life story, I'm not done yet. My pledge continued to raise my money and the university continued to flourish. My passion in education for India also becoming more and more closer to my heart. So it was actually feeding, self-feeding. My story is about common sense, luck, and the values I got from my family, the integrity, honesty, doing good to others. This is the moral that I want to convey to the young generation today. Whatever you do in life, do it for a right reason. Love what you do. If you look at my story, one might think that my timing was impeccable. But maybe I took advantage of the situations also. So when opportunity knocks your door, make sure you make a good use of it. Don't let them pass by. You must be willing to grab them. That is another message to today's young generation. I started power supply business because it was my passion. I wasn't thinking that I was going to make the kind of money that I ended up making. Making money was a byproduct of my passion, power supplies. When you have that type of situation, success is a lot easier. My dream is to have Ganpat University be a successful university and have a graduating young women and men who go to the world and do well. Dadi and I feel passionately about devoting our time and resources to the young lives. We have been very fortunate. We are blessed with 3 beautiful daughters, 7 grandchildren, all support us unconditionally and lovingly to do what we are doing. We should leave later year of our life to establish our legacy. That is how we wanted to be known long after we are gone. And that is exactly what we are doing. Manju and I want to personally thank the student at Ganpat University. We are extremely happy and proud of what we have watched being built at Ganpat University in our years of retirement. You students have brought youth in us. A passion, excitement is not measurable. We had no idea that our life path would bring us here. But now that it has, we are thankful and could not imagine doing anything other than what we are doing. It is our hope of Ganpat University that you use your education as a springboard to the great success in the world, and that you return to your roots like I and Dadi have and give back to the society. This is our dream also. And with that, I want to end my talk, and I want to quote Sant Kabir, "Kar bala, hoga bala." I also have my friend 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗂𝗁 here. He will talk about my philosophy, how I ran power supply company as a manager, as a president. So if we can give 5 minutes to 𝗦𝗽𝗂𝗁 Patel, I would appreciate. Thank you.
Yes,
God
sir.
bless.
Thank you so much, 𝗦𝗽𝗂𝗁. Welcome you.
I may not go through all the names, but I would say all the invited guests.
That's perfect.
We just heard a remarkable story of a journey of a little boy born in 𝗔𝗯𝗃 with no running water or electricity, fulfilling his childhood ambition and aspiration to be a businessman. He not only became one of the most successful businessmen, he also became one of the biggest philanthropists in the state of Gujarat and received Padma Shri award from the government of India. What a story. This should be a big inspiration to our young people. It's a remarkable story and it is worth noting. And I personally congratulate Pat and Manju.
Thank you.
Let me share a few things while I worked with him for almost 25 years. I joined Cherokee during 1987 as the Vice President of Engineering. First thing I noticed after joining Cherokee, that Pat had all the attributes of a successful entrepreneur, such as hardworking, demanding, confident in his decisions, confident in his own ability, impatient, aggressive, temperamental. These are all the attributes of a successful entrepreneur. You look at Steve Jobs' life story. Look at the Bill Gates' life story. They all have this quality. I would call them qualities. Being temperamental is not really bad for a person for a reason. When I say hardworking means, let me give you an example. When he started the business, he started by himself. That means he had to get the business. He has to design it. He had to purchase material. He had to build it, test it, and deliver. Now look, he has to wear all these hats because you cannot afford to hire anybody at that time. So that is called hard working, because when I work with him, we used to go for a walk during lunchtime and he used to tell me all the stories. So probably I know more about his life than anybody else. How he used to stay overnight preparing power supply, and next day early morning getting ready, drive a couple of 100 miles, maybe to Las Vegas, stop at a gas station, change his suit and tie, and deliver the power supply. Now that takes some doing it. So success doesn't come free. It requires a lot of hard work, dedication, and as you said, passion. Impatient means they don't want, if you say, I'll get it done. No, no, no. Get it done now. There is no tomorrow. For entrepreneurs, there is no tomorrow. It has to be done right now. Confident in his ability, in decision making. He used to tell me, but they used to call me Bud rather than Big 𝗫𝗫𝗫. So if we are right 51% of the time, we are okay. As long as you stay above 50% your decision, you could be wrong sometime. Nobody is right 100%. So as long as you are right 51% is okay. And I say, all right, that's a good philosophy. And we followed it. He used to insist on us, when we don't make this, just make the decision, don't worry about the results. What Lord Krishna said to Arjuna, just do your term, don't worry about the results. Just do the best you can. And that was his philosophy. Another thing I found out, that he valued his employees greatly. He said, if you want to have a successful business, your best assets is your employees. So treat them well, treat them like family members. I know his door was always open if any employee had a complaint, even personal problem, family problem, financial problem. They would come and talk to him in confidentiality that, okay, Pat would help them. He will solve their family problems. Financially, he will help them. He will either give them money or lend them. But anyway, in short, he took care of his people. And every business should know that you should take care of your employees. Don't treat them like they are your servants. I'm a little sorry to say that India, the tradition is still employees are employee and we are the boss. America is different. America, you treat employees like they are just like human beings with respect. I give you one example. When we used to hire engineers from India, they come to our company and while they are working, if me or Pat walk by, they'll just get up. We used to train them. It took us almost a year to train them that please don't get up. You don't have to. We are no different than you. You just keep working. But I notice in India, as a tradition, if a boss walks by, you get up. My advice is please treat your employees or your engineers, everybody equal. They have different level in responsibility, but as a human being, they are same. Now, let me share a few things while we were working at CalPoly. Under Pat's leadership during 90s, CalPoly was one of the best, if not the best, power supply company in the nation. Fastest growing and highly profitable. These are during 80s and 90s. It had computerized processes, best equipment, top design talent, and above all, most transparent company. And that's what Pat always has preached, that you have to have transparency. For Gujarati ma, we say, Kulrima Gorni Bhagwan. You may not know that it should be transparent. Pat had instructed us to invest money in best equipment and top engineering talent. His motto was, invest money, but do not waste. Our engineering talent was so good that after the closure of Tustin operation, USA operation, our new owners, they closed the USA operation, moved to China. By the new ownership, about 80% of our design staff was hired by Apple. And the power supply group is run at Apple by our Cherokee engineer. It shows that what kind of talent.
Thank you. Yes.
When we were together,
our entire team ended up at Apple.
and it's not easy. Apple doesn't hire ordinary B or C grade engineers.
Right.
When we were together at Cherokee working, Pat used to tell me that we should do something to help less fortunate people. He was always humble about his God-given prosperity. When he met Anil Bhai in India, as Pat explained, he expressed his desire to do something in the educational field to help local people. Anil Bhai took him to a place of barren land, as Pat already described, and they built an educational institution, that is Ganpat University. Since Pat became president of the Ganpat University, he became very active in running the university. He's running the university same way he ran the Cherokee. Empower the people with authority, resources, provide them resources and tools needed to perform their task, and with the accountability. Authority and responsibility go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. Pat has given them freedom to think out of the box. You know, I don't know what is in India, maybe it's changing, but usually the thinking there is, you are just the employees, you work for us, you just do what we tell you. See, that chokes their thinking. With this freedom, the whole staff is rejuvenated and energized. The atmosphere on the campus is buzzing with enthusiasm and excitement. He has made several changes in the governing body. He removed some unqualified members and added some very capable people with expertise in education and in administration field. He has hired several new highly qualified staff members. He's emphasizing ethics, honesty, integrity, transparency, and efficiency. He's trying to run the university with the efficiency of a business operation with the goal of providing the best possible education, and we are succeeding at it. While he's there, he works harder than he ever worked at Cherokee. With his vision and guidance, I'm sure Ganpat University will be one of the best universities in India, maybe Stanford of India. That's his dream.
Thank you.
Pat and Manju are known on campus as Dada and Dadi. One time I was walking with them, and you hardly can go 50 yards before somebody comes and say, "Can I have a selfie with you?" That shows how popular they are there. They treat them just like their own Dada and Dadi. In short, I would like to thank Pat and Manju providing financial resources and personal time and effort to provide educational opportunity to kids in India. Thanks for allowing me a small part of it.